Asbestosis is something that we hear a lot about nowadays because so many older men are starting to suffer from the effects of it due to the work that they did in their early years. We have one such man with us here today, Arthur Rafferty, who suffers from asbestosis, and in fact he took it a stage further. He campaigned and he won his case. So Arthur, thank you very much for coming along today. So give us a wee bit of background about yourself first of all.
Well, I was born and reared down in Dockland in Sailortown, and I was a docker at the Belfast docks. My father was a docker and my grandfather was a docker, so we go back a long, long way. Now, there was a cargo that we worked at the Belfast docks called Asbestos. And we worked at that for about 27, 28 years. And we never got any protection at all, not even a paper mask.
When did you first become concerned that you may have contracted asbestosis?
Well, asbestosis itself is a sickness that lies in your body dormant for 30, 40, maybe 50 years. So therefore, I worked at the docks from 58 right up to 84. I was feeling okay. But 2001, I began to take sick. I began to breathe very heavy. I began to bring up blood. I began to have pains and aches that I never had because I was a professional boxer and I always kept myself fit. I never drank and I never smoked. That's when I first knew something was wrong.
Yeah. So then you were diagnosed, obviously, with asbestosis from the hospital, was it?
Well, I went to my own GP first. He examined me for a long time, but couldn't find anything. And he sent me to the Mater Hospital to see a specialist. And the specialist in the Mater Hospital spent about 6 hours with me that morning. They'd done every test known. 4 weeks later, they sent for me. The same doctor seen me. And he says, Arthur, I have bad news for you. You are suffering from asbestosis. Well, I didn't even know what it meant. I says, well, how did I get that? Because I've always kept myself fit. And he understood that. So he said to me, did you ever work with a commodity at the docks called asbestos? I says, of course we did for years. Thousands and thousands of tons of it. Because that was the stuff that the shipyard needed to build the ships. He says, what protection did they give you? I said, they never gave us anything, not even as much as a paper mask.
So that's why now we would find an awful lot of older men suffering from asbestosis because it lies dormant in your system for so long. And then what exactly is this illness? Can you describe it?
What it is, your lungs are scarred with working with asbestos.
Oh, right. The lungs.
And the lungs are scarred. Now, they showed me my scan when they took it in the Mater Hospital, and my whole lungs was peppered with black dots. And that gradually over the years gets worse. Your breathing gets worse, and you can barely walk. And it's only a matter of time before it goes from pleural plaques, asbestosis, and then mesothelioma. When you come to the stage of mesothelioma, you're on your way out. The doctor can practically tell you you have 8 weeks, 10 weeks to live.
And this is all brought about
from
working with this material over so many years without protection.
Well, I worked at it for 27 years, and no one, ever told us about the dangers of that.
So, Arthur, tell me, how many others are likely to be affected by this condition?
Well, there again, you said, you hit the nail on the head there. That lies dormant in your body. There's people walking about now, don't know they have it. Now, our union, they had a duty of care to look after us. They should have brought doctors in, which I've told them that time and time again, and told them to go for scans to make sure that they don't have it. But no, they're doing absolutely nothing.
So, Arthur, I know that this has been a very long battle for you with this illness that you've had, and it's been a long battle to get recognition and to get justice. So, tell me something briefly about the background to your campaigning.
Well, my campaigning started when I was diagnosed in 2001. Up to 2007, I was attending the Mater Hospital regularly for treatment. Although there was no treatment they can give you, they just have to look after you, take your blood pressure, take your breathing tests. Now, I've done that from 2001 to 2007. Then all of a sudden, the doctors in the Mother Hospital who did at first diagnose me came up that they made a mistake. Like it took them nearly 6.5 years to find out that they made a mistake with me. And I have been fighting ever since that, right up till the present time, to get told that I do or I don't have asbestosis. And I had to travel from here to Liverpool twice to see a specialist. Whereas these...
Tell me a wee bit now, just if you could just in detail a wee bit about your campaign. How did it start? What support did you get and how did you end up winning? You won your case and you got compensation, isn't that right?
Well, my case started when I was told in the courts that I didn't have asbestosis. I thought that was impossible to do because these fellas were treating me all them years. And I started a programme for called ASNI, Asbestos Support in Northern Ireland.
Right, yes.
And I applied for charity status, which I got.
What was the next procedure that
The
you went through?
next procedure here, I applied at least a half a dozen times to see the health minister here in Belfast.
Yes.
He refused to speak to me. He wrote letters to me but refused to speak to me. Then Nigel Dodds got involved in the case.
That's what I wanted to ask you. He supported you now, and what was his role in helping you with your campaign?
Nigel, without Nigel's help, I would have got nowhere. He was behind me the full way. He even went over to Westminster and raised my case in Westminster Parliament.
Yes, yes.
And I got a great response to that from people speaking to me. Now, Nigel is still with me at the present time. And anything Nigel and me wants to do, we do it together.
Obviously, you would have attracted a lot of attention from other sufferers. So do you take your campaign to different places and give talks? Or how do you go about highlighting it now?
People are phoning me day and daily. Now, I've opened 2 advice centres, one in North Belfast and one in West Belfast.
Right.
Because I want to do both sides of the community.
For asbestosis.
For asbestosis people, people that work with asbestosis, not only people who work with it, but wives or children who didn't work with it and have been affected by it. Although the government tells you that can't happen, but I have proved them wrong. And people's come to me day and daily, and I'm helping them people to find ways around it.
What sort of advice do you give them when they come to the centres?
I advise them to go to see the best people, the people I know that are tried and tested by me, that will help these people, because there's a terrible lot of doctors who won't help them, and a terrible lot of government quangos organisations won't help them also. So I try to avoid the people going to them, because as you say yourself, May, most people with asbestosis now are elderly. Because that lies in their body a long time before it shows up. Although it comes up in some people very quick, because 3 or 4 doctors that were diagnosed with me at the docks are dead and buried now.
How is your health now, Arthur?
My health now, I know myself, I'm dying. I have no doubts about that. The only thing that's kept me was I've kept myself a bit fit by not drinking and smoking. But I have seen other doctors that are in the same position as me. They can barely walk. Some of them run about carrying bottles of God for breathing.
Really?
Really. I've been in the house. As a matter of fact, as I'm saying, I have them 2 centres, but people that come to me, but some people can't even come to me. So I have a service now. I go and visit them.
Really? That's wonderful. Wonderful.
As I'm saying, the last person I went to see was in Coleraine. I travelled to Coleraine to see a person with asbestos.
I think that's a very noble thing to do, considering the fact that your own health is not great, that you still take the time to do that to help and encourage other people.
Well, I know what these people are like. These organisations run by the government here, they don't want people to have any help at all. That's the way I see it. They put me through 11 years of total hell. And I know what it's like. And if these people are going to go through the same thing as I went through, they'll not have the staying power to do that. Once the doctors met me, I told them, I had a meeting with them many a time, and I told them, I'm in here for the full 15 rounds. And they knew what I meant. I'm not going away.
Yes, that's the jargon from the old
That's for boxing, yeah. 15 rounds was a long fight.
Yes.
I'm in for the long 15 rounder. And I told them I wasn't going to go away, and I haven't gone away. And I took my own case to court after 3 or 4 solicitors and barristers refused to take it on, and I won my case. And one of the barristers in the court, last week I won my case, they told me it was like David and Goliath.
Good to see. You come from good, tough seed.
Well, the old Boston skill is still there.
That's
Plus,
still- yes.
I was a docker, and
That's
dockers
right.
are hard
Oh, I
men.
know that,
Hard.
yes.
They worked hard, they played hard, and they drank hard. But I was one of the exceptions at the docks. Thank God for that. My father drank, my brother drank, my grandfather. I never had any inkling to drink.
So how do you see your future now, Arthur?
Well, my future is very bleak. The only pleasure I get is helping people. Helping these people that I know will need help. Because if they're going to go through what I went through, half of them won't survive it. That's for sure.
Well, Arthur, you know, I think it's great that they have an ambassador like you, you know, to fight their corner for them.
Well, the people on the other side wouldn't say that. They want to see the back of me. Because they told me that away years ago. I'm sure Nigel Todd said one thing to me once. I thought it was very funny. He said, Arthur, if and when you die, you'll have the biggest funeral this town has ever seen. You'll have that many doctors and lawyers and professors behind your coffin. You'll not know where you are.
Well, with your spirit, I think that would be a long time yet, Arthur.
I hope so, mate, because there's a terrible lot of people that are asking me for my help at all. And as I'm saying, I'm only a one-man show, and I can't split myself up to help everybody, but I do my best.
Well, do you know, Arthur, it's been very, very enlightening and interesting talking to you, and thank you very,
Thank you very,
much.
very much,
And
mate.
I wish you all the best for the future.
Thank you very much. Thank you.